Yeah, he is, I think, much more modern towards the later 20th century understanding, ideas of painting. Yeah. Kokoschka's love affair with Gustav Mahler's wife, Alma Mahler, was quite scandalous and quite well known during the beginning of the 20th century. It was a great gossip between musicians and painters. Oskar Kokoschka was deeply in love with her, and she was also not unaware of this love, and they had an affair, actually. But she was a person who was not very constant, and Oskar Kokoschka was an eccentric artist. So at the end, Alma Mahler left him. He was devastated, very angry. This great love turned into hate, and the funny thing was he made a doll of Alma Mahler, sort of, you know, one-to-one doll, and kept this doll in his bedroom and beat the doll up whenever he was angry. He couldn't beat the woman, so he beat the doll. Okay? Yeah, this is Arnold Schoenberg himself as a painter. See, his self-portraits are very interesting. Go on. Okay. And his Schoenberg's painting of his colleague and friend, composer Alban. Now, at the same time, when Wiener Werkstätte was going on, in Paris, another movement was very strong. This movement was called Art Nouveau, meaning new art, right? This new art was really very popular in France. So it had, in architecture, especially in city architecture, for instance, even the lampposts were designed in this Art Nouveau style. Lampposts or metro stations, the entrances of metro stations, and staircases, or the whatever, I mean, whatever you can think of, train stations, the designs were all in Art Nouveau style. Shall we go on? Yeah. See, the entrances of houses, for instance. The ornaments are fantastically intricate. In a way, we can call it kitsch, maybe, but this is what they liked in France. Yes, it's a lamp with a nude and with a swan. No, it's not a swan, it's a peacock. See, it's a peacock. And the movement is very round, very soft. It's curves, beautiful curves, and lots of light and color. Yes, you can go on. So this staircase, again, the movements are very round and soft. Yes. And, you know, people like Émile Gallet and Lalique, these two artists, were sculptures, but they made their sculpture from glass. They made the first glass sculpture in Art Nouveau style, which is very interesting. Yeah, for instance, this lamp made of glass. It's like a vitrail, I think. The style is like a vitrail. Space. Slavic. Okay. In Austria, in Vienna, Art Nouveau became Jugendstil, meaning young style. Art Nouveau became Jugendstil. So we have the same kind of round figures and colorful ornaments, but it's not as, it doesn't have the round movement so much. It has more geometrical movements, as you can see. Yes, see, the geometrical movements are much more emphasized in Jugendstil than in Art Nouveau. This is a Jugendstil lamp, more austere. Yes, of course, the Viennese are more austere. I want to go back to Debussy again, and the influence of Impressionism on Art Nouveau is quite visible in Debussy's music. Many of his pieces were called impressionistic names, like La Mer. Well, of course, La Mer meaning the sea. It doesn't have an impressionistic meaning, maybe, but when you hear the music, it explains to you the movement of the sea, the colors of the sea, the sound of the sea, the sound of the waves, the color of different blues and greens and everything. You just can't imagine. Or there's another work that he has composed called Nuage, for instance. All these, you know, Nuage, Cisnedir, English, fog, yeah, that's right. So he gave names like this from the nature. But let's hear La Mer a little bit. And just imagine the sea while you're listening to it. Now, before we stop, I want to give you another example from Vienna of 1900 in the person of Arnold Schoenberg. Arnold Schoenberg was the most important composer at the time. And this is a documentary, short documentary about his early life in Vienna.
Vienna at the turn of the century. Along with London, New York, and Paris, the capital of the Austro-Hungarian Empire was one of the world's greatest cities. As the center of the multi-ethnic state of Austria-Hungary, Vienna gathered together a wide variety of nationalities and religious confessions. It was home to important artists, scientists, and intellectuals in a unique cultural ambience. Thinkers and artists were working in a wide variety of fields, yet they were linked together in many different ways. Arnold Schoenberg was born on September 13, 1874, at Oberadonaustrasse 5 in Vienna's 2nd District, where he went to school and spent his childhood in modest circumstances. He began taking violin lessons when he was 8, and only a year later he made his first attempts at composing music, initially waltzes,